guys, I'll tell you something. Did any of you catch the press conference from Vic Fangio, yesterday after the second day of training camp? If you haven't, I highly recommend you do so. Definitely worthwhile to listen to the defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles this year talk about some of the players and some of the things that are going on this football team. And there's just some things that I really liked, and there's some things that I think are concerning. I'll tell you what was funny is what an old man Vic Fangio is. Like, typical old man, and I don't mean that in an insulting way. I mean it in, like, a very funny way. Like, old people, your grandfather, for example, the grump of the family, very honest, straight up, no bullshit, tells you what it is. If he thinks you're fat, he's just going to say you're fat. If he thinks you're ugly, he's just going to say you're ugly. He's not going to sugarcoat anything, because if you sugarcoated it, you'd probably eat that too, you fat. So that's the type of stuff that he would say. And Vic Fangio on the microphone is definitely a funny listen. Brutally honest. And we haven't had that from a coach in a long time. And quite frankly, in my opinion, I think it's refreshing to have something like that, especially when it comes to just being accountable and just being totally upfront with players, because, athletes just appreciate you being straightforward with them and being very black and white with them, because they either want to get better or they don't. And if they do, they want to know how. And Vic Fangio is going to be a guy that provides that for this young defensive group. And that is what this is, a young defensive group here in Philadelphia. However, as funny as it is and as great as it is to have honesty behind Vic Fangio, there are some things that are concerning and should raise eyebrows for you. And it may lead to problems down the road for this football team. And that's something that we're going to break down as the episode continues. Before we get into all that, though, let me introduce the show. This is the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. I am Asif Bode. I am your host. I am an Eagles fan just like you. I'm not a reporter, not an insider. I don't have any hot takes that are via sources or anything like that. Nothing of the sort. I'm a fan reacting to the news just as you are and providing my perspective and my opinions on the Philadelphia Eagles. That's what I'm doing. You can have your opinion and let me know in the comments section below, and we'll engage in dialogue. But if you want to help us out, shoot this video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and share it to any other person who you know is an Eagle fan that wants to consume Eagles content. I'm all for it here. Vic Fangio, guys, like I mentioned at the top of the show, very honest. And it's refreshing to have that in Philadelphia, like I said. And some of the stuff that he was talking about in regards to his comments were the best players are just going to play. Plain and simple. Doesn't matter how much money you're making. Doesn't matter your draft status. It doesn't matter what you've done in the past. It's based on what's going on in camp. If you can show this coaching staff you can play ball, they're going to give you an opportunity to play ball. And that's a really, really great thing to have, especially for a team that's so young on the defensive side of the ball. Now, I'm not going to say that they have a lot of depth at the defensive side of the ball, because there's some positions that are clearly just lacking, like linebacker, for example, lacking. Safety, there's 2 or 3 safeties on the roster that can play, lacking. The cornerbacks, I think we have about, 3-4 cornerbacks that can truly play. And then the other 3-4 are kind of question marks. Right? The 2 rookies in Mitchell and DeJean are question marks, to be fair. I think Ringo can play. I think Rodgers can play. I think Slay can play. Bradberry, I don't know what the hell they're doing with him. And then you have the other guys like, Hall and Stevens and, Eli Ricks. Those are other question marks on the roster too. Plus Maddox. And then the defensive line's got some question marks there as well. But the good thing, like I said, if you are able to play ball in camp and showcase your skills, you're going to get an opportunity to play. And that's 100% a good thing in a Vic Fangio defense. The problem now is if you listen to his press conference, he had some interesting remarks regarding players like Bryce Huff and the linebackers, saying that, linebackers is an open competition, which is fine. That's not that big of a deal. But Bryce Huff being a guy that he basically said right now is a gadget player, is a situational player, and he is the highest paid player on our defense. Right? I mean, like he basically got the money that Hassan Reddick was making, and Vic Fangio basically relegated to him at this moment, in this present moment, on day 2 of training camp, a situational pass rusher. Can't play the run yet. Not a 3-down player. Situational pass rusher. To me, that's not a good sign. That is not a good sign. And again, we're paying this guy, as if I'm part of the organization. I'm saying we as a collective for Philadelphia Eagles, okay? So don't mind me saying that, okay? I know some jackasses in the comments like to say that type of shit because they think they're being, they just have to have an opinion and they have to let it be out there, which is fine. But, you're sitting on your damn couch eating a bag of Lay's with crumbs on your fucking tits, okay? So, yes, I'm going to say we, all right? I'm in a mood today. Anyways, we're paying the guy $18 million to be a situational pass rusher is a little bit of a concern for me. I understand that he's a young player, had limited snaps with the New York Jets, but now he's getting paid to be a staple in our defense. To be a guy that could come in and bring on good production for a player like Hassan Reddick. You got to be able to play the run. I don't know how you're an NFL player and you can't play the run. This Eagles organization has put a lot of faith and a lot of hope into Bryce Huff. And Vic Fangio right now, while I appreciate the honesty, is telling you this kid ain't ready to play. He's just not. And I know it's early, and this could change as camp goes along. But I will tell you, if our highest paid defensive player is a situational player, that's a damn problem. And that, my friends, is a sign for this defense to struggle as the year continues on. $18 million, and he's a pass rusher specialist. 3rd down specialty. Can't play the run, can't set the edge, can't play the pass. I mean, come on, man. That's a problem. And my only hope for this defense to not think it's going to, because look, this defense is going to struggle. It is not going to be pretty to watch this defensive unit play football. It's just not. It's not going to be quite like it was last season because I think there's more buy-in from this unit. So in terms of it looking so anemic and lethargic and pathetic, I don't think we're going to quite see that on the defensive side of the ball. But we're going to see struggle. We're going to see a team that has a hard time slowing other offenses down for the most part. There's going to be a lot of personnel movement on this defensive side. Linebacker is going to be another position of, for us to look at and say, damn, might be a struggle here. Might be a struggle to get a pass rush with the rotating defensive linemen that we have. because we're relying again on a lot of young guys. And now, if the plan for the Philadelphia Eagles is to say, listen, we're going to let these young guys play, we're going to let them get burnt, we're going to let them learn on the job, sacrifice a year in terms of being a true contender in the NFC for the long run on this defensive side of the ball. And again, when I'm talking about contenders, I mean on defensive side of the ball. I know the offense has got talent. That's not the issue here. I'm talking about the defense. I'm all for it if that's the game plan. If you're saying let the young guys learn on the job, let them get burned, and let them kind of grow as a unit. But if Vic Fangio is saying, hey, our big free agent acquisition is a specialist, can't play all downs, and we have to rely on guys like Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham to be able to set the edge and play the run a little bit more, that's a lot to ask of two veterans, especially on one-year deals. Now, I don't know what this means going forward for this Eagles defensive line and this unit. I do know what I think is going to happen. If it's true that Bryce Huff continues to not be able to set the edge and play the run and be a guy that can play more downs than not, Milton Williams is going to be the guy that they're going to call upon. And boy, oh boy, do I believe in Milton Williams. He is going to get a bag. That guy is going to get paid by the end of this damn season. And I hope he gets paid by Philadelphia. Because, damn it, if it's true what Vic Fangio says about Bryce Huff and it continues going forward, he's going to be asked, he meaning Milton Williams, is going to be asked to do a lot more. He's got the athleticism to do it. He's got the ability to do it. But he's got the same questions as Bryce Huff with the limited snaps and the production and whatnot. Well, boy, oh boy, $18 million. Can't play the run. Can't set the edge. He's not ready to do that quite yet. He's a work in progress. And then not to mention, we have Nolan Smith on the opposite side, who we don't know about. And I believe in his athleticism, and I believe the guy can play. But man, oh man, there's a lot of question marks on the defensive side of the ball. Especially in the front seven. Ironically, the positions that I don't have a lot of questions on is presided by Jalen Carter, who's a stud, and then Jordan Davis. I'm almost sure that those two guys are going to at least be good for the first half of the year. Everybody else is kind of a question mark at the moment. And quite frankly, that's a scary sign. For a team that claims to be in the Super Bowl hunt and to be in contention, you have a whole side of the ball that you have a damn question mark at. Literally at every position. This defense is going to struggle. It is going to be a long season for this defense. Will it be better for us in the long run? Probably, especially if the young guys are the ones that are getting the reps. But if it really is best player up, best man up, that could be James Bradberry playing corner once again. That could be Avonte Maddox playing slot. That could be, guys who are not part of the Eagles' future getting the snaps as opposed to guys like DeJean, like Mitchell, like Ringo, like Rodgers. To me, you need to not only... I get that you want your best players to be out there, but if this is really a play for long-term sustainability, young guys got to get out there. You need to let them get their asses kicked if that's what it takes for them to get better. Kansas City did the same thing on their defense. Veteran defensive coordinator, drafted young, got all the young players on defense to play, and they struggled mightily for the first, 3/5 of the year when they played in their rookie years, a couple years ago. And then as the season went on, got the chemistry, got the reps in, saw what the defensive scheme is supposed to look like, trusted their coaching, and then became a really good defensive team in the playoffs. And then literally the year after they won the Super Bowl, became the number 1 defense in the NFL. If that's the play, you go for the play. But boy, oh boy, this is going to be a long season on the defensive side of the ball. And again, like I mentioned, as funny as the Vic Fangio press conference was, it was damn eye-opening. Refreshing to see an honest coach in Philadelphia ready to freaking give it to you when you deserve to get an earful. But man, oh man, these young guys, these young players in the front seven, these young players on the defensive side of the ball, they better be ready to work. Because Vic Fangio, as much as I don't like his scheme, he's going to give you that work. And he's going to give you plenty of opportunity to prove your worth. Hey, thank you so much for watching the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. If you want to continue to support the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also, check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Riding the Bench Eagles Pod. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on there. Thank you so much for listening, and please join us next time here at the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast.